It's morning in Los Angeles and it's morning in America. I am your host, KC Phoenix, and this is my morning political thought. Today is October the 12th, Monday. We're off to a new week now. And as my title says, let the games begin. I will go into that morning political thought in a minute. The brightness on the side of my face is me sitting next to the TV because that is part of what I'm discussing and let the games begin, and I'm sure you already know what I'm talking about. But before I get into that, let me go ahead and do the social media stuff and some side news stories. Social media stuff, thepurpleelephantshow.com, main podcasting platform. You can listen to every single episode, including some of the exclusive podcast-only episodes on the Purple Elephant Show platform. Also, The Purple Elephant Show on Parler, The Purple Elephant Show on Instagram. If you are on Twitter, at RealTPES. On Facebook, facebook.com/The Purple Elephant Show. If you are watching this on YouTube, BitChute, or Dailymotion, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That way you will know when I upload new videos. And on YouTube, you have to hit the notification bell along with the subscribe button too. All right, now on to the side news stories. Boris Johnson is planning on doing an address to the nation in regards to the lockdowns and what the new lockdown requirements will be and whatnot. People are growing restless in the northern part of England, and this goes back to what I predicted. I predicted this. I'm starting to feel like a prophet. In my episode, I said, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Also, something else I predicted, moving on to something else, when I said, and for the people on BitChute, you didn't get to see the episode. I uploaded it to BitChute, but for whatever reason, it didn't process. That's happened to like 2 of the episodes I've uploaded, and I've never went back to try and do it again. It's just, if it makes it, it makes it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I guess they're still an up-and-coming platform, so they have to do whatever they need to do with their servers and whatnot to make stuff more efficient. But if it goes up, it goes up. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But one thing that I uploaded, and you can watch it or listen to it on YouTube or Dailymotion or thepurpleelephantshow.com. The title of the episode is "I Hate to Be the Bearer of Bad News on SCOTUS." And during that episode, I mentioned to all of the people who are rooting for Amy Coney Barrett to be confirmed, and I make it clear, I'm indifferent. I'm not for her. I'm not against her. It's just if she gets confirmed, great. If she doesn't, life goes on. But with her being confirmed, some people are thinking that things are guaranteed. And one thing that I mentioned during that episode, "I hate to be the bearer of bad news on SCOTUS," is I said, don't be surprised if she recuses herself during an election case, something that goes to the Supreme Court that's related to the election, when she's just being confirmed a few weeks before the election and being nominated by President Trump, to make sure there isn't any type of bias present or impropriety. So I was like, don't be surprised if that happens. Now, what has recently happened, Senator Chuck Schumer, has come out and asked her, if she is confirmed to the Supreme Court, not to rule on any cases related to the election. And quiet as is kept, he didn't have to ask her. If she feels she needs to do it, she will more than likely do it. Because as I said in my previous episode, "I hate to be the bearer of bad news on SCOTUS," when someone puts on the robe, that's it. And you don't know what they plan to do before they put on the robe. And once they put on the robe, that's it. Once they're on the bench, that's it. So it's kind of amazing that I brought this up, a week or 2 ago? Give or take. You can find the episode because I don't go through every single thing, but it was probably a week, no more than 2 weeks ago, that I mentioned this, And then just yesterday, Chuck Schumer comes out, or day before yesterday, and comes out and asks her to recuse herself from cases related to the election. So I'm starting to feel like a prophet here. I really am. All right. Now, next side story. They're talking about North Korea is able to target the U.S. because North Korea showed off some intercontinental ballistic missiles recently, the new upgraded brand. First of all, I remember this story like it was yesterday. The reason I remember this story like it was yesterday is because when I didn't know much about the world of politics or military, and my dad is former military, by the way, and I like a lot of my family's military. I believe I had already told you guys, my uncle was one of the top people in charge of nuclear weapons in the Air Force. So I have a lot of military people that are family members. Anyways, I called my dad because they put up it was on the news. I forgot what network it was on, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I was at work. I was living in Miami at the time, and that was 2003. And I called Dad, and I'm like, oh my God, I guess it's over, because North Korea has the ability to hit the U.S. with one of their missiles, California. And my dad was like, it's not that serious. And he said this to me before. My dad was telling me that military, even before President Trump redid the military, my dad had told me there's certain things in the military that we have that people don't even know about, that are so sophisticated, that are so advanced. People haven't seen it. People haven't heard of it. There's certain weapons that exist. Now, the military was upgraded, but the technology in certain weapons we still had that type of technology. And my dad confirmed that. And he wasn't like high up like my uncle was with nuclear weapons and stuff. But my dad was in charge of like several platoons and things like that. So I don't know what his classification status was because I never went into that with him, but or his clearance status. But I know that enough stuff came across his desk where he would have privy to certain information. Obviously, he wouldn't release anything to me that is classified. But I know certain things came across his desk where he had to know certain things. And that's why he was like, don't worry about it. It's not that serious. So with the news now talking about North Korea being able to do this isn't new. They mentioned this back in 2003 of North Korea having the ability, that it was suspected then that they have the ability to hit California at the time when I was living in Miami. So when I hear this again with this being in the media, even though it came from the Washington Times, and I love the Washington Times. Washington Times is pretty much fair and balanced. They're not really biased. They call things as they are. I hate it being brought up again, especially so close to an election, because on one side is stoking flames or whatever, where if President Trump were to lose, which I don't see President Trump losing, and like I said, make sure you vote regardless of how I see or the premonitions that I have. Make sure you vote if you're able to vote, because I know I have international listeners to the podcast. But for those in the United States, make sure you vote. And then on the other side, you have people where it's sort of like fear-mongering to get them to vote maybe for President Trump, because they know if something were to happen, President Trump will be the one who does something. But also on the other side, if we had a Democrat president, they would be quicker to go to war than President Trump would be. President Trump doesn't like going to war. It's not saying that he won't go to war. Oh, he'll go to war if absolutely forced, but he doesn't like it. He doesn't want to have to go to war. He feels wars cost too much money and too many lives are lost unnecessarily during war. So That's the thing. He's not quick to pull the trigger on going to war versus other parties. They're a little bit quicker now, even though it's weird. There was a time where the Republican Party was the one that would go in guns blazing. Now it's like everything is flipped. We're in the whole Alice in Wonderland thing. But that's what I have to say about North Korea. All right. And President Trump, speaking of President Trump is going back on the campaign trail. His doctors gave him the A-OK. He's good to go. And if I'm not mistaken, he should be doing a rally today. He does so many things. I don't always keep up with his schedule, but I'm pretty sure he's doing a rally somewhere today. I want to say Pennsylvania, maybe, or Florida. I have to check and see. And also you can check and see too. I mean, if you're listening to this or watching this, obviously you have access to the internet. So, but I'm pretty sure he's doing some type of event today. Also, when he tweeted on Twitter that he was good to go, and of course he mentioned the China Wuhan virus, Twitter, the machine, the algorithm, whatever, took it upon itself to flag his tweet because he mentioned the China Wuhan virus. All I have to say is that these people at these tech companies, they might find some religion very quickly. Because if President Trump wins, which I believe he will, and if he keeps a Republican Senate and he gets a Republican House, Section 230 is going to come up on the chopping block. The only way that it won't is if the tech companies buy off the Republicans, which is a possibility because, politicians, they're for sale. Sadly, it always amazes me how people are easily bought in politics, where it isn't about the country. It's about staying in power, staying elected. And that's why they can be bought. They can be bought on two levels because a lot of people in Congress, they usually spend a lot of time raising money to run in elections. So they're more susceptible to corruption from other parties who are like, hey, I'll give you that extra $200,000 you need to put some ads in this area during this time and to do this and to do that on that level. And then also on corruption on the other level, which is also related to China, which is why a lot of people, Democrats and Republicans, are hesitant when it comes to China, is because China makes it where people can get money and get rich, just like Hunter Biden. So it is a thing of, it's not about being a patriot. It's not about patriotism. It's about self-preservation. It's about greed. And that's sad because patriotism, your love for your country should override everything. And especially when dealing with parties who are looking to corrupt, whether it is tech companies or whether it is foreign countries like China, like Iran, like Russia, like whoever. Their end game is to win. That is the end game. The immediate result is that you get the win if you accept the money. Obviously, if you accept the money from, I'll just say Google. If you accept the money from Google, then, all right, you get to fund your campaign. You might win your election, but Google will continue doing what Google does behind the scenes with this algorithm and making it more difficult and more difficult for you if they don't agree with your politics or your policies or your social awareness. Then they will make it more and more difficult as time goes on where you can't win. And when you are finally at the point where you can't win, they know that they don't need to donate to you anymore. They can go ahead and start donating to the person who they really want and they really know will enforce the policies that they want. Same thing with China. In that moment, you will get rich, you will be wealthy, your family will have wealth, but the end game over decades will be that the United States as a country, as a whole, will be weaker, which in turn will affect your family, regardless of wealth, because when a country falls, regardless of wealth, wealth isn't the end all be all protection. There are wealthy people where things go bad in a country, they can't find any protection. And what I mean by that is if they're not diversified enough, if they are not able to maneuver properly, which happens sometimes with some wealthy people, then they're going to be out of luck too, especially if their wealth is tied to a specific country. Now, if they're diversified, where a lot of their wealth isn't concentrated within the United States, then that's different. But if a lot of their wealth is concentrated in the United States and they're not diversified, then they're going to fall too. And their kids will fall, and their kids' kids will fall, and so on and so forth. And it all happened because the person in office was willing to sell themselves out to China, to Russia, to Iran, to whoever to get rich in the moment instead of standing up for their country and their party. So that's how I feel on that. All right. On to the final side news, Columbus Day, which I learned something new today. All right, today is Columbus Day, October the 12th. The first proclamation was by President Benjamin Harris, which I believe he was the 26th president, if I'm not mistaken. I glanced at it because I'll be honest, I don't know all of the presidents. And quiet as is kept, I would probably say 2/3 of Americans, without even doing a poll, don't know every single president of the United States. We know the greatest hits, but we don't know every single one. But Benjamin Harris, I believe he was the 26th president. Anyways, he did the first proclamation for Columbus Day in 1892. Later, the Knights of Columbus and the International Roman Catholic Fraternal Society lobbied state legislature to declare October 12th as a legal holiday. Colorado was the first state in 1907 to recognize Columbus Day. New York followed in 1909. FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, then designated Columbus Day as a national holiday in 1934. And now President Trump has done a proclamation which praises Columbus and Americans with Italian heritage. So that's what that is on Columbus Day. As for the side news stories, they are out the way now. I'm going to briefly just talk about my morning political thought. Let the games begin. This bright thing going on my face, that's my TV. And the hearing is happening right now. So with Amy Coney Barrett for that. And you know what? I agree with Rush Limbaugh. I don't even think they should have done it. I think that they should have just been like, you know what? Due to all of the stuff happening right now and everyone's saying that it's not safe to be in a closed room together and everything else because of the China Wuhan virus, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and just do a quick vote. Because why give people the platform? Just like Amy Klobuchar, I watched her earlier. And by the time this uploads on the podcast or on the video platforms, the hearing will more than likely be over with. But Amy Klobuchar was talking about all this stuff, and then some other Democrat, I think from Rhode Island, started talking, and I'm just like, and then we have Republicans giving civics lessons like Ben Sass and yada, yada, yada. Let's just go ahead and get this done. Because right now, it's just a game. It's just for show. I'm a person who likes people who execute. I don't care about personalities, clearly, because I support President Trump. Even though I think President Trump is very misunderstood. He's never fooled me. I think he's a big old teddy bear. He just has a rough exterior. All of this is for show. I like people who execute. I like for things to get done. Just have the vote. And let the vote speak for itself. Because after the votes are done, you can see who voted for what. If the Democrats are like, oh, well, I want to make it clear I didn't vote for this. Go look at all the votes and now you can see and do that. And if they want to run campaign ads and whatever and say how wrong it was that this happened, even though it wasn't, and legally by the Constitution, everything is on the up and up. It's on the up and up. A seat became available. The Constitution said the seat can be filled. That's what's happening. So they can keep on throwing all this other stuff out, but it's sour grapes is what it is. But as I said before, I just like people who execute. Get the job done. Don't worry about all this theater and putting on a show. Because like I said, it's all a game. And she's going to go through all of this. She's going to make her presentation. And as I said before, I am indifferent. Not for, not against. I don't care. I'm not worried about her presentation. I would just rather her go ahead and get on the bench and be done with it. So we can move on and get other things done. And this is the problem. And I know that the Senate moves at a glacial pace because that's what the Senate does. It's sort of its MO. However, there are times where things need to move in a more expeditious manner so you can get other things done. And it was brought up, it was either by the Democrat of Rhode Island or it might have been Amy Klobuchar when they were talking about the not working on the legislation for a relief package for the China Wuhan virus. Well, first of all, Nancy Pelosi has been the one holding that up. President Trump has made it clear. He said, I'm willing to spend more money. I'm just not willing to bail out Democrat cities. And that has been President Trump's thing. If Nancy Pelosi would take out all of these bailouts for Democrat cities, President Trump would probably do a $3 trillion package. Republicans wouldn't like it, but they will more than likely go with it because it is President Trump's party. But because Nancy Pelosi wants to bail out New York and this state that I live in, California, because the two states don't know how to manage the money they already have, even though California has some of the highest taxes, if not the most highest taxes in the United States of America. But these are minor details. President Trump said no, and Nancy Pelosi still wants to keep on pushing it. California needs a bailout. New York needs a bailout. And all this other stuff. And President Trump is like, I don't want to bail them out, but I will give you money for whatever else you need. Let's get money to the American people. So when I hear Democrats bring up, oh, well, you know, we could be working on this. Well, first of all, if you would expedite this thing and get rid of this show and just vote instead of everybody saying stuff, talk. That's all people do in Congress. They talk. No, execute. I don't like people who talk. I don't like the professional personalities and being polite and having the right demeanor. When all you do is talk and you never get anything done. I would rather you be rough around the edges and get things done than be the cookie cutter. And I mentioned this before, be the cookie cutter image and never get anything done. It doesn't do the American people any good. So I'd rather them just go ahead and vote and be done with it and let's stop with the games. So for that, I'm recording right now. Leave it at the door. For that, I want people to go ahead and just get things done instead of doing talking, playing games, and everything else. The United States of America deserves better. It deserves better. So that's my thought, my morning political thought on Let the Games Begin. Anyways, thank you for watching and listening. ThePurpleElephantShow.com, main podcasting platform. The Purple Elephant Show on Instagram, Parler, @RealTPES on Twitter, Facebook.com/The Purple Elephant Show. And YouTube, Daily Motion, BitChute. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And until next time, be blessed.